Hi, everybody. Super excited to have all of you here. Like Melissa said, I'm Omer, one of the founders, CRO, and I manage our business that gives all of the solutions and platform to app developers. And most of you, or almost all of you, of course, knows about ironSource. So each time we're trying to think of an original angle of how to present the company. So today we went with something, you'll see it soon. But I'm going to start with the obvious, right? Like Tomer said, I think that this is something that we all understand in this room, right? But everybody else in the world, or most people, don't really understand it, which is every app out there, whether it's a game or an app, is somebody's business. And like Tomer said, our goal is to make sure that we help as much as we can in turning every app into a business, especially when you see how many apps you have out there. Right, so there are millions of live apps. You have new games and apps coming out every day. How do you turn this into something big? Is a huge challenge, and that's our reason to wake up in the morning and to build more solutions and products. We have in ironSource two main customers, right? We have the app developers, which is the vast majority of the room here, and we also have the telecom operators, our solution which we're calling Aura. This is our newest solution. It's relatively already been around for several years, but we've launched it when we understood that there is here a challenge for OEMs and telcos to be able to participate in the app economy, right? So they also want to be able to offer content to their users and be part of this economy. And app developers and game developers needed new channels to be able to do effective UA, right, or effective marketing. And we thought that this can be really connected together in a very effective way, and we've created Aura, and today we're very proud to be working with the vast majority of the app developers in the market and many of the telecom and biggest device operators. Everything we do, I'm diving into our solution for app developers right now. Everything we do is based on this, what we're calling the growth loop, the growth cycle, right? So we think that in order to turn an app into a business, first you need, of course, to build the game, right? So you have a game engine. Then once you have the game, you need to grow your user base. So everything we build around UA or marketing will go here. Once you have your users, you need to monetize them, right? So everything around monetization goes here. Then once you have the users and you monetize them, you can't stop, right? You need to constantly optimize, to constantly make sure that the LTV or the ARPU is the highest, right? And then you reinvest in growth, or you create more games or more apps. And then this flywheel, whenever we are adding one thing in this, wherever it's here or here or here, it creates this flywheel effect and the growth cycle becoming stronger and stronger. And you'll see that all of our solutions, right? And these are all of our solutions within Sonic. You'll see that all of these, each of them, they're all based on one of the areas here within the growth cycle, right? So this is a summary of all of our products in the platform for app developers. So you have and divided into 4 solutions, right? The first one is marketing. So everything around how do I grow my user base? So within marketing, we have cross-channel campaign. I think that I'm gonna get to it soon, but I think that the majority of you think that UA with us is only on our own network. That was the case up until we acquired Luna and Bidalgo, and today we've merged these 2 products, and we have the #1 marketing software out there in the ecosystem that you can basically manage all of your UA using that platform, including when you're buying on Apple, on Google, on Facebook, and on everything else. So cross-channel UA, cross-promotion tools, ROAS, automation and optimization. We all know how optimizers are important, right? How data science behind optimizers are what making the entire difference. We invest heavily in there, and we have crazy plans for the future in order to improve it. We think that having good targeting is really something that helps all of the industry to continue to grow. So ROAS optimizers and automation, on-device distribution, right? We have very strong synergy between the app developers that are distributing with us on Sonic, also to do distribution on Aura, right, through the telcos and OEMs. And of course, many tools around creative management, because in many cases, it's the creative itself that makes sure if you win or fail a game or a campaign. So that's everything we have around marketing. Moving to monetization, so of course we have LevelPlay, which is our mediation, which is one of the products that we invest the most, and that we constantly innovate and make sure that we lead the market. We have our own network, right, the ironSource network, and we have additional tools like A/B testing, segmentations, and others that make sure that monetization is the most effective. The third one is analytics, right? I'm going here. So analytics we have in many areas in our platform, and we also launch our in-app analytics, so everything around your game, not just the monetization or the growth. We have products like ad quality that make sure that that all of the ads that you're seeing are meeting your quality guidelines. We have cohort reporting, creative analytics, constantly adding more and more capabilities to let you optimize your users and LTV. And then about 2.5 years ago, I'm asking Nadav who leads Supersonic. 2.5 years ago, we took a decision to launch our publishing product, and the reason that we did it was very different than why most companies are doing publishing, right? We didn't do it because we wanted to create our own content. We did it because we felt that we have all of these great tools, all of these great capabilities, but the companies that can mainly use them are only mid and large game companies, right? Because they are the ones who have people who do UA and ad monetization. They are the ones that have the financial resources, because you always have the cost when you're scaling your UA. But indie developers, but that are so important in our ecosystem, they didn't really have a product that they can use in order to publish their games. So our vision was, how do we take everything we offer, add more capabilities which are specific for indie developers, for ad-based indie developers, and turn this into the best publishing product out there in the market, also with the concept of making it transparent, making it open, and really with the idea that it's just like all of the other elements in our platform, but made for indie and completely automated. So that was publishing, and obviously it's been a very big success. Just to add to all of these solution kind of names, because you'll hear the names, so just so you know, Luna today is the combination of what used to be Luna Creative, right, Luna Labs, and Bidalgo, right? So we merge those two products to a one marketing and creative software, which is called Luna. So when we're speaking about a cross-channel UA, we're speaking about Luna. On the mediation, LevelPlay, as you know, is our mediation name, and ironSource is our network name. We also have an offer wall. Jeff, who's the former CEO of Tapjoy and leads our Sonic US business, he's going to speak about offer wall, but that's another very important with it. It has its legacy, but today it's a very, very important and effective ad unit that everybody should know and really, really fast growing. We have, of course, the ironSource Exchange, which Ari sitting here is leading it as well, which is our marketplace, which is seeing tremendous growth recently. Supersonic, of course, is our publishing, and ironSource Aura. You'll see Giancarlo speaking about it on the device management and telcos, right? So these are the name of the product. You can see also the customers that each of these brands or products are providing value to. Okay, so Melissa told the story about Omer being broke. That was, by the way, a very long time ago when Omer was broke. I think that what's really unique in this company, or one of the things which are unique, is that we're 8 co-founders, right? Who've been together for, you know what I remember? I remember that in the IPO, Omer was speaking. He was speaking in the IPO, and when he said that, he literally cried, right? So I didn't know if to laugh at him or to be emotional as well. So, but we're 8 co-founders that are still leading the company. We have with us people who are even more important today, which is super, super strong executives and management. And I think that this culture, right, of innovation, of entrepreneurs, we have many people here who can be amazing entrepreneurs, right? And they are a part of our management because that's what they're doing here. We're a group of entrepreneurs working together. And really, I think that even though we're already a pretty big company, we managed to keep that type of culture and DNA and innovation. So now I'm going to briefly go to 5 misconceptions about ironSource, which is my lame way to tell you about the company in a hopefully interesting way, right? So misconception number 1, we're only working with games. So no, like Tomer said, about more than 20% of ironSource today is actually non-games, right? It can be apps beyond games, it can be telcos. We think that there is a huge opportunity in helping app developers to do what games are doing so successfully. It will help everybody, because when apps will advertise more, they will advertise on games, eCPM will grow, we'll see more demand. I think the ecosystem, the TAM itself, will grow. When we're looking at who are our non-games partners, right? And I'm putting, we divide them to demand and supply, both areas. So we have brand advertisers. I think that every Game Fest we're speaking about brand advertisers and the trend, we're seeing it. It takes time, right? I think that to see Coca-Cola invest heavily in games, it takes time, but what we're seeing is that the graph is constantly growing, right? So brands are becoming a bigger part. Brand DSPs, right, from the Trade Desk and many others. App developers who are doing really, really effective ROI-based campaigns and are learning to be as effective as games doing campaigns, and e-commerce and direct-to-consumer advertisers. And then, of course, in addition to this, we have Aura and the telcos and all of that activity. When we're zooming into app developers, right, these are the categories of the app developers in our platform, right? I think that many times, also when people are asking, okay, but what type of apps are you speaking about that monetize also with ads and not only with subscription or purchases? So this is currently the segmentation or the breakdown. You can see entertainment, you can see lifestyle, social, health, shopping, and others. And of course, not working with us yet, but everybody are speaking about this example, right? So if Netflix, which is a huge subscription base, are speaking about adding ads and by that lowering the subscription cost, obviously everybody can do it. We've seen, by the way, already amazing case studies around subscription apps who are integrating different type of ads, whether they are rewarded or other types, and are seeing really great synergy between subscription and ad revenue. Misconception number 2, most of our network and mediation partners are hyper-casual. I think that this misconception is still here, and people think that, wait, so Mopub was mainly IAP, or Max is mainly IAP, and so really, really no. We are proud today to have a very strong diversity, and this is by number of customers who are using our platform. You can see kind of the breakdown, okay? So you can see hyper-casual, of course, is here, but you can see strategy, you can see puzzle, which is very, very big. You can see RPG, arcade, simulation, casino. It's a very, very well distributed ecosystem today. Misconception number 3, we only offer UA on the ironSource network. So I talked about it, and of course it's not true. We've launched, or we have Luna already live, already scaled, already working with many, many big customers out there. So you can use Luna today to basically maximize your performance across multiple channels, and you'll hear a presentation about that specifically. These are, by the way, it's an interesting angle. When we're looking at companies or who are buying through Luna on all of the channels, this is right now the revenue breakdown. The reason that you're seeing social and Google so big is because originally Luna was built primarily to optimize on Facebook and Google and others. We are planning also to expand this part, right? And eventually, you and Apple, of course, will speak about it. We have a very strong initiative also to help to make the advertising on Apple more effective. But this is something we really want to be able to create a mediation for UA, right? We think that the same thing that we did for the monetization side, we can do for the UA side, especially when thinking about how do you connect that with also with Unity and with the entire cycle from the game engine. Really, really exciting. Misconception number 4, Aura on device is only preloads and not relevant for games. So also not true. We have many games who advertise on Aura. By the way, Aura, one of the reasons that Aura was created is because we felt that the way that games and apps were doing preloads or the telcos were doing preloads was not effective because there was no targeting, there was no users asking what they want, and that was kind of the main reason. So we've launched the out-of-the-box experience that users are only being offered what we think that they would want to install, and they're actively choosing what they want to. And we also have an ad unit which is called Game Spotlight, which is specific for games, and you can see these are the categories breakdown of the type of games who advertise on Aura, and we're seeing this really, really scale, right? So this is, Aura is definitely for all type of apps and for games as well. Misconception number 5, supersonic success is based on a few top charting games. So this is really not true. We've launched Supersonic about 2 and something years ago. We still, by the way, work extremely closely with all publishers, and we want the entire ecosystem to grow, and we're only developing more and more tools for all of the publishers in the ecosystem. Specifically in Supersonic, we've launched 65 top charting games. 70 already, Nadav corrects me, 70 already, right? And really, really with the idea of making it easy and being really good at identifying what a prototype has potential to become a big game. We also added, based on that, we've also added marketability technologies that Nimrod is going to speak about, but everything that can help us to identify a game at the beginning and understand the potential, whether they need us eventually to publish it or they will publish it and use our software. That's something which we feel is really, really crucial. Okay, so this is about misconceptions. I think you knew 80% of it. And now I want to speak about innovation, philosophy, and then turn it to a few of my colleagues who will speak about, they will double click on a few of the things. But our innovation philosophy, right, is basically based on beneath it, there is the full platform approach, which is what Tomer spoke about, which is the infrastructure for app developers. Everything we innovate is around it. Everything we are thinking of is how can we create something that will add more value to our platform, and that we think that by adding that part, not only that it will help that part, but also make sure the flywheel is stronger. We do it with building things in-house, we do it with acquisitions, we do it with mergers, all really the thing that we're thinking about, how can we make our platform more comprehensive and more valuable. And then so this is the foundation, right? Above it, we really invest in deep understanding of customer pain points, whether it's events like these, whether it's our account managers or growth managers who are constantly speaking with customers. We really, whether it's our product managers or product marketing, constantly try to understand. We have a very strong culture of experimentation with strong execution. We constantly think of ideas. Some of them are crazy, right? We try them, we try most of them, and we're very good at not falling in love with them, right? So we try them, we have very clear ROI, and then we decide, are we moving it from an experiment into something which is more deep, or even eventually to be full scale and general availability. But we constantly have new ideas that we're checking, and it's something which is very, very embedded in the culture here. And we try to anticipate the market. Now, in some cases, we think that it's good to be first. Right? So for example, when you're thinking about mediation and ad-based optimizer, we were the first one to launch it. Today, it's a standard. Right? Today, everybody, if I'm a game and I have significant ad revenue, I can't think of a world that I wouldn't use an ad-based optimizer, right? When you're thinking about even, I'll go a bit back in time. If you're thinking about a playable, which is in the rewarded experience, we were the first ones to do it. We did it with Machine Zone back in the days. And these are cases where we feel it's great to innovate in specific products like the mediation. We give it to ourselves as a KPI. We want to always be first, always be the ones to innovate. In other cases, also throughout our history, we think that it makes sense to wait, to see if others are launching things, and then to go ahead. But we're always balancing between when do we want to go first and when do we want to be second, but to learn from the mistakes of the one who went first and to improve them. So this is the philosophy. Before I'll move into the different speakers, I want to say that all of this innovation, right, is going to be crazy boosted or crazy pumped with the combination after the closing of us and Unity, right? We both companies share here a very similar vision. John will discuss it later today, but I think that we can together really create significant additional values in all of our platform, potentially increase the overall market as a result, and really the innovation that we're doing is going to really take a huge leap forward post the completion of the merger. And the slogan, which I think Felix said yesterday in one of the conversations, which I love, is better together, right? Everything we're going to do is going to be based on how can we be better together when we are offering our customers and partners solutions.
Hi, everybody. It's great to see you all. Very excited post-pandemic, actually, to see everyone come here and meet together. And looking forward for the upcoming years to come. In my slides, I will touch kind of like the core ads business of ironSource. As Omer mentioned, we have a few pillars, and we are focusing more or less on the mediation part, LevelPlay, as well as the ironSource ad network. And as Omer mentioned, part of our product philosophy is around innovation. So mainly what we're doing, I mean, the core attention is around helping you grow, right? To run user acquisition at a better scale, right? And we have lots of innovation around that. On the other side, we have the mediation, and we're helping you get a better performance in higher CPMs, etc. But our ability to influence and help the industry is limited up to the point in which it's within our systems, right? So part of our philosophy is to take a step further and to help you, provide you with the right capabilities and tools so you can grow your business. And that's part of our product philosophy. I'll give, like Omer mentioned, like few examples. I'll touch few more before I dive into specifically on marketability and cross promotion. So for example, A/B testing is an example that I love on the LevelPlay side of things, right? So up until, we launched A/B testing on LevelPlay about almost 4 years ago. And it's hard to believe that up until that point, decision-making on monetization, the strategy was simply ran without any testing, right? So, you were like adding new networks, changing pricing, line items, changing rewards, and just hoping for it to work. And if you see better performance, maybe it's because of that, maybe because of different things, but it's very hard to make sure that you are going in the right direction, right? So as everything that we're doing internally, we clearly run with A/B testing. That's kind of like the basics. So the idea was here to provide you with the capabilities to do so on the monetization side. And it's very amazing to see that today, for whoever has been joining the industry in the past 3 years, clearly, A/B testing is a core capability on any other mediation platform out there, right? It's hard to imagine like a mediation without A/B testing capabilities and just proving the points. And we also see that you guys are using it and taking decisions and help you grow, which is amazing. Kind of like a similar example is around court reports. So clearly we didn't invent court reports, right? It was out there, but court reports was mainly in use for marketeers, right? So we all know about retention metrics, etc., through the MMPs or homegrown kind of like solution. But on the monetization side, everything was like calendaric, right? It was like same reports day by day, ARPDAO, etc. And the idea here was to add another dimension and to help you actually be able to measure ARPU and LTV through the different cycles of the user age. And it's amazing to see, again, how it's evolved. And today, it's kind of like the standard. The more you are ad-based focused and the more you are like aggressive in taking decisions in real time, the most is important for you to know every change, how it really affects your new audience. And court support, again, same as A/B testing. Today, it's kind of like the standard out there. And it's amazing to see. So what I'll talk in this session is another 2 examples of innovation projects that we are working on right now, together with some of you, actually, as you'll see. And I'll start with marketability testing. So let's, I'm sure that you're all aware of more or less on that flow, right? So what's the problem? You have a prototype, and then you're like to see if it has a marketability potential, right? I mainly refer here to app developers that try and launch many apps and in a kind of like in high cadence, right? And this is where we can help the most. Clearly, where it's also like kind of like ads monetization is a significant part of the monetization strategy. So what you do in that case, the standard today more or less is to run marketability testing with the social networks, right? You see how the CPI, if you get enough scale, and then according to those KPIs, you either decide to drop the game and move to a different one, or you move to the next one, which is started and strengthen the in-game metrics, add monetization, see if you reach an healthy LTV. But you all in that step as well, your entire calculation is against the marketability test that you've done with the social networks. Then you either drop or continue, you soft launch, you see if it goes, you either drop or continue. But through the entire flow, there is actually one significant missing part, which is the SDK networks, right? So we all know that as part of a healthy user acquisition activity, you balance, that's what happens between social and SDK networks. It can be either like 50-50, 60-40, 70-30, but these are the other SDK networks is a very significant portion of the user acquisition strategy. And what we all know that how marketability and what the CPIs that you can get from social is significantly different than what you'll see in the SDK networks, and this is the problem that we are trying to solve here, and that's a LevelPlay marketability solution. So what is our marketability solution, how it works? So the idea is actually kind of like simple, but the complexity is in the logic inside of it. So you simply assign a small budget, it can be like a few hundreds of dollars for a test. You open a test, then the predictive algorithms of ironSource LevelPlay actually find the right places for you to best understand what would be the potential. And out of that, within several hours, a day or two, you get a score. So the score is between like 1 to 5, and you can see it more or less how it works here on the plot. So it's kind of like there's like two axes. It's the IPM and also the cost. And the idea is to help you understand, will your game scale with SDK networks in the right way? And it should help you better understand and take decisions in that part. So where we're standing today and what was the flow up until that point. So we started with an alpha, which is in many cases what we're doing. We've been working closely with Supersonic Studio, right? We've been iterating with them. The team ran dozens of tests. We perfect the engine of the marketability test up to the point in which Supersonic reported this is part of our launching strategy. For every launch, Supersonic started using the LevelPlay marketability testing tool, which was the right point in time in which we transitioned into the closed beta phase 1, which was to share the tool with several additional partners and run tests in order to make sure that it helps them the same way that it helps Supersonic. Up for today, we already have hundreds of tests running and so far, and we are very happy with the results. And in the last few weeks, we actually are in a phase of transitioning to V2 of the closed beta, which actually means that any LevelPlay developer out there can use the marketability tool, right? We'll share more communication around it in the upcoming weeks, but actually we already see more and more publishers starting to launch tests and help them grow. So I move to the next example, which is cross promotion, which is in a way it's kind of like funny, right? Because there's nothing new with cross promotion, right? Cross promotion is kind of like a very basic thing in our ecosystem as well as in others. But still, we believe that there is a huge opportunity and there is lack of optimization in that area, which is fundamentals for publishers that have a large portfolio of apps. So what is cross-promotion? We all know you have several apps, right? And you want to make sure that as part of your user acquisition strategy, you actually also use your own ecosystem to drive users to use other of your solutions, right? But the question is how you do it. So I'll review here the three main, I believe, solutions that are being used in the past few years. So the first one, which is by far the most common solution in hyper-casual games, is simply like a native ad placement, right? You simply put there kind of like a rectangle, as you can see here, and you promote other apps in your portfolio, which is, by the way, it's very easy to do, right? And it makes sense because you have the supply, you have the place, and you simply stick it there. The problem here that it's for sure suboptimal, right? Because more or less you treat all the users the same. It's very hard to build an ad tech behind it that will run logics like suppression, etc. But still a valid and very known way to run cross-promotion to date. The second one is mainly the most traditional way of running cross-promotion, right? Which is simply to define the fixed CPM of your any cross-promotion activity and stick it somewhere through your ad formats. In many cases, it can even be like a backfill. And the idea here that you run ads and you simply use this property to also promote your cross-promotion, your own apps. But the problem here, more or less the same as with the native placement, is that is for sure underperforming, right? Because there is no ad tech behind it. All users are treated the same. Maybe for a given user, you may prefer to show like a different ad for a different price, etc. The last, which became more and more popular through the years, is to simply run through the networks, right? So the same way that you run user acquisition activity with each and every network out there, and it helps you get reach through any apps that exist out there, you actually also help it reach your own apps, right? And for example, you run a UA campaign, so the same way that it's being served, those ads being served through other hub developers' applications, it's also run on your portfolio as well. So it's very, what's unique here, and which is way better than the previous two examples, is that it's very efficient, right? Because there is a full ad tech behind it. Not all users treat the same. There is a suppression logic, etc., etc. So what's the problems? So problem number one, that there is a high margin that you assign to, that you pay. And in general, when you're using an ad network, it makes sense that you're actually paying for two main things. One of them is you pay for the engine, right? That helps you reach a scale of user in the right price. But the second thing that you are paying for is actually to get the supply, right? To get the access to the supply. But in the case of cross-promotion, it doesn't make sense because you own the supply. So why should you pay in order to reach out to it? And there's additional limitations here with respect to the transparency, right? So for example, it's kind of like challenging in that situation for monetization managers to actually understand what part of their incomes are actually coming from their own teammates that are running user acquisition activity on their own supply. So this was led us to actually release the LevelPlay cross-promotion solution, which tries to take the best out of the previous example and run it in the most efficient way. So, and the idea is actually quite simple, right? So in a way, publishers that are use LevelPlay can have their, I'll say, their own bidding networks. On one side, which is the user acquisition side, they can create dedicated campaign for cross-promotion. They can set up either CPI bids or use the ROAS optimization, everything that is right for them. And they get full data transparency with respect to how it works on their app, which app perform better, etc., etc. And on the other side, which is the monetization on the LevelPlay platform, it's simply another bidding network in the stack, right? So when the monetization managers look in the how performance is working, so they know the exact share of wallet that the cross-promotion activity is running. They can break it down through different countries, what the CPMs, et cetera, et cetera. And the beating heart of the entire solution is clearly the ironSource machine learning algos that are actually working for you to make sure that this activity is running at scale in the most efficient way. So everything is working great, but we still have one big problem with this product, which is how we name it. So I'll start with saying that cross-promotion, everyone really knows what cross-promotion is. So, and we had several discussions of how should we name cross-promotion, LevelPlay cross-promotion, because we felt like it doesn't make, I mean, you guys don't fully understand the power of it. So we came out with various of names through the years, but we still didn't manage to figure it out. So I'll give you a few examples. We sort of like name it your own private bidding network or your own private bidder, and you can see there are many other examples out there. So what I would like you, I hope that right now you understand better about the solution, and think about it. I mean, I'll be here through the different Appfest days. I will try to catch you between in the breaks, and if you think that you find the sweet spot of how should we name it, I'm here for you, and maybe we'll figure it out through Appfest, and then next week we will tell everybody the new name, and we will assign it for whoever it is. Thank you very much. I'll move the mic to Ellie to, oh, thank you.
Hello, everyone. It's very exciting to see all of you here. I'm Ellie. I'm a director of product at ironSource, Luna. And actually, my day-to-day, what I do is I spend my time thinking about you. I think about your problems, your needs when it comes to app marketing growth. So I'm very excited here to talk to you a little bit about Luna and what we are doing in order to help you. So in Luna, what we do is that we help any app marketeers gain incremental growth. And we do that by building tools towards efficiency, scale, and performance. Now, this is true across any user acquisition channel out there. But today, Omer gave me only 15 minutes. So I will only be focusing on Apple Search Ad and the innovation tools we've built on top. Now, Apple Search Ad is led by one of my friends, Yotam Wimmer, another product director at Luna. Unlike Nimrod, who ended his presentation with a question, I'm going to start with one. I want you to think throughout the presentation if you're sure you're actually seizing all the opportunities there are when it comes to your scale in Apple Search Ads. See, this question is very relevant lately because Apple has grown significantly in the last couple of years, and it is expected to reach the $20 billion by the year of 2025. Apple also had released 2 new placements recently, one in the Today tab and the other on the product page, showing us how much they are investing in this channel. We also see a very cross-correlation to the data within Luna. The share of wallet of Luna's client had more than doubled in the last 5 months. And yet, many app marketeers still don't think, or maybe think there's not really much to do in order to scale in Apple Search Ad. Now, after talking to a lot of our customers, we understand that the opportunity is actually huge, but the path of seizing it might be a little fuzzy and blurry. And hopefully, I will be able to shed some light and clarify how to get there. So how Luna can help? First, I want to introduce the most important person in my story, which is your next potential user. Now, instead of me referring to your next potential user every time I want to say your next potential user, we will just call her Sarah. Now, imagine Sarah is now in the App Store, and she's searching for an app. The chances of her installing an app are enormous. In fact, the chances of her leaving the App Store without an app with such a strong intent is similar to me entering a Zara store, leaving without any shopping bags, if you know what I mean. So, with that said, how do we make sure that Sarah downloads your app? How do we make sure that you capitalize that strong search intent? First, you need to understand where you stand against the competition. And imagine that Sarah is now searching for a keyword. Do you know exactly what are the competitors that appear in those search results? Do you know how many of your competitors actually reach potential users versus how many you have touched? We understand that having fragmented data across different tools and software is very challenging. It's very difficult to drive conclusion. Sometimes you get the wrong conclusion, and you definitely miss on opportunities. In Luna, what we've done is to aggregate all the needed sources of data for you to not only drive conclusion, but gain also insights and recommendation from the platform itself, as well as build automation on top. And now that you understand how you're doing, the next step is to understand how your competitors are doing. And to do that, in Apple Search Ad, you usually look at the share of voice. Some may recognize this by impression share. In Luna, we not only give you the day-to-day data in order to scale and promote your app, we also show you unique data like share of voice. So you can always know if you're ahead of your competitors, and if not, to act upon it. Let's go back to Sarah for a second. Now, Sarah is actually searching for a keyword that is related to your app, but not directly. A good example would be she's looking for a slot machine, and you are promoting a poker game. Do you appear in that search result? Does your UA team knows this opportunity exists? After speaking to so many customers and users, we now know today that one of the biggest challenges that UA manager has today when it comes to growing and scaling on Apple is to search for that next keyword, is to mine for new keywords. That's why I'm very happy to announce a partnership with Sensor Tower. Sensor Tower Intelligence, combining with Luna optimization platform, actually makes a one single place for your UA manager not only to optimize their activity in Apple, as well as to scale on it and find new keywords. But now that they have found new keywords, do they know what to do with it? There's still a very big question remaining. What is the bid I should apply, and to which campaign I should add these new keywords? So we went all in, and we automated this entire process from A to Z without you needing to lift a finger. In Luna, we search in multiple data sources for the next keywords. Then we test them, and we make sure that the losing keywords are getting shut and closed and left behind, and the winning keywords are getting added into your campaigns. This is currently live in beta with these companies, and if you do have any questions about joining the beta or more information about the beta, you're more than welcome to reach out to your Tom or myself after the presentation. We've reached one of my favorite parts, which is the user journey. I know we usually don't discuss about the user journey when it comes to UA and media buying, but in Apple Search Ad, I believe this is one of the crucial elements in your activity. Imagine Sarah is looking for a keyword. She even sees your app in the search result, and she taps on it. And she's now in your product page. This is the time to win Sarah's heart. But the thing is that if she searched for a keyword and then she sees a creative that has nothing to do with the keyword she searched for, she might get confused or see something irrelevant. She can hit black and go to the next up in line. Once Apple had introduced the custom product pages, the creative linking between the keywords and the custom product pages became very important. It is a critical element in order to understand exactly the user journey. That's why in Luna, we not only show you the full funnel keyword data, as well as the full funnel CPP level data, we also show you what links between them. We show you the creative, and we give you data and insights on top, so you can make sure that the user journey is intact and makes sense. Lastly, let's say that Sarah had downloaded your app and that you have won her heart. But how much value did she really bring? You see, when there's one Sarah clicking on your app, that's okay. But when there are 10,000s of Sarahs out there and you didn't set the optimal bid, small mistake can lead up to a great impact on your ROAS. This is the complexity of how it looks today in Apple. The complexity of the channel had increased exponentially because it's impossible for a UA manager today to really set the optimal bid to each one of those keywords with all the permutations with the custom product pages. But what if this can be programmatically? This is why we've released the Optimization Center. I'm sure you're all very familiar with ironSource optimizers by now. And so we've taken that technology and we applied it here in Luna. This is a real example of a UA manager that had separated two groups of keyword and had placed specific keyword on each one of these groups. Now, as you can see, all the bids are static. There is no seasonality. He's not seizing any opportunities. He just left it there with no optimization at all. Once the optimization center had kicked in, the distribution of bid became larger, way larger. And that is because the optimization center is not only responsible of setting the optimal bid, it actually makes sure that you're not overspending on those keywords that are losing you money and not underspending on those keywords that has a lot of potential to grow. This is a public case study we did with World Remit. World Remit is a finance app that joined Luna back in April this year. And ever since, they had grown in spend in 72%. But this is not even what's mostly striking. What's striking is that they started using the optimization center in June. And in only 3 months, with over 3,000 optimization applied, the CPA dropped in 22%. So I will get back to my question. Are you sure you're not missing an opportunity when it comes to your scale in Apple Search Ad? We believe the opportunity is huge, and with the right product, the right tools to guide you, and with the right optimizations, you might just find that Apple Search Ad can be one of your most important user acquisition channel out there. So, lastly, tomorrow when you go in to your hotel room, you will see a little gift from us. I hope you enjoy it and have lots of fun. Thank you.
So hi guys, I'm Gal. I co-lead the Web3 activity here at ironSource. So up until now we discussed the great tools and products that you can leverage for your existing games. For this session, let's try to talk about the next games that you are going to develop. Maybe you would like to use some of the Web3 advantages in them. But before I start, I want to put right up front some of the biggest misconceptions around Web3. Web3 games doesn't mean cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, or other digital currencies with fluctuating prices and speculative markets. It doesn't mean DeFi, decentralized finance, for arbitrage trading or asset staking. It also doesn't mean IGO, initial game offering, where studios or developers actually pre-sell their items in order to finance their games. And most importantly, Web3 games doesn't mean play to earn. In the last year or two, there was a lot of hype around play to earn that was wrongly considered by some as a synonymous of Web3 games, where users engage with those games with the sole purpose of making a profit out of it. Now, all those tools can be nice use cases that you can leverage, but we don't think that they are the essence of Web3 games. Instead, when we think about Web3 games, we think about digital ownership, where users can actually own the items they get inside the game. We think about open ecosystems in a trustless environment that encourages collaboration. And we think about interoperability, where items can actually move between different games or platforms. Essentially, we see Web3 games as the extension from free-to-play to play and own. Play and own games are actually fun and exciting games that users are engaging with in order to entertain. And they also add a layer on top of them that is allowing user ownership. Now, let's see how we can put this to practice. In play and own games, game assets are actually NFTs. Those NFTs can be integrated both in the game and out of the game. Game developers can actually integrate those NFTs inside the games as cosmetics, in example, skins or clothing that doesn't impact the game mechanics. They can also give them some powers and capabilities, like a faster car or a stronger shield, that affect the game design. Those items can be also necessary in order to allow users progression. So users actually need to own items in order to reach new levels or finalize quests. Same NFTs can be integrated out of the game, where game developers actually can leverage them as collectible items. They can use their own IP, like items, equipment, or special characters, and distribute them to users as merchandise. Those NFTs can also deliver VIP experiences where they are used as an entry point or access ticket to special content, special promotions, or even dedicated social media channels that only users that own specific items can actually access to. All of those ideas actually create new levels of user engagement that eventually is good for the business. Thanks to those user engagement, you can generate more revenue, open new revenue streams, increase your retention, and also open new opportunities for user acquisition for all the marketers in the crowd. User ownership actually leads to more in-app purchases. If you think about it, essentially with Play and Own, you are basically shifting the purchase decision of a user from purchasing an expense into purchasing an asset that he actually owns. He can get all the value that we just talked about, and also he can sell it in the future. Now, we know how tough it is to convert users into paying in games. Roughly only 5% of users ever make in-app purchases. We believe that with this shift from an expense to an asset, you will actually be able to convert more users. What if this 5% suddenly goes out to 8%, 10%, maybe 20%? It can be very relevant to your revenues. Now, obviously, there is another side of the coin, because essentially we open the possibility for users to actually sell their assets in a peer-to-peer trading. We are risking cannibalization, where users will actually buy those used items instead of primary markets directly from the developer, that we should take in consideration when we are building our monetization strategy. But we also know that when we are opening new entry point or new prices point to users that will be able to purchase maybe in a lower price tier, those users are still engaging with the game. They are getting involved in it. They are keeping on playing the game. They are getting a taste of this premium content, and maybe we will be able to convert them more in the future and make more in-app purchases from them. So we believe that in the overall, the revenue cake will actually grow. On top of that, royalties actually means new revenue streams. Royalties are the fee that developers can set on their items and actually collect a percentage from any secondary market transaction. So let's say, for example, that you decide to set a 10% royalty fee on your asset. This means that every time users will trade your assets, you are getting 10% of the sale price. Now, just to emphasize how important and significant this can be, let's look on the latest project that were launched lately from companies like Nike, Adidas, and Nickelodeon, all building for gaming experiences. Now, putting aside the fact that they generated millions of dollars in revenues, what is really interesting there, that if you look at the revenue stream, 50% of the revenue came from primary market sale. The other 50% of the revenue actually came from secondary market royalty fee. It means that with the 10% that those companies set for the royalties fee, they generated additional 50% of their overall revenue. Now that's very significant because if you think about it, right now you are dealing only with your primary market. If suddenly you are opening the secondary market and you will be able to double some of the portion of those in-app purchases, it can be very significant for your game. Now, when we own something, we tend to care more about it and its environment. When we own a piece of the game, we tend to care more about the game and the community inside it. In play and own, there is a mutual value that is split between the developer and the user, where users actually are incentivized to keep on playing, collect more items, engage their friends inside the game that is beneficial for the retention and engagement and for the developer. And last but not least, the fact that items can actually move between different games and you, the developer, can recognize what users are owning inside, that's opened a whole new world for user acquisition. Just to give an example, think about Starbucks memberships that was launched a few days or weeks ago. Let's think that you believe that your audience are actually relevant for your game. You can actually attract those users in your game, offering them something inside it. You can tell to all the Starbucks members, everyone that is coming to my game and is part of the Starbucks membership will get something inside the game. It can be in the form of more gems, maybe some special content or personalization, and you will engage them with your game, bringing them inside. Now, I gave an example of a very big brand like Starbucks, but the same technique can be used for between two different games. Let's say you believe that game A have the audience that actually can enjoy and make a benefit inside your game, and you want to attract them. You can tell all the users that own assets from game A and will come to your game, will actually get a benefit inside of it that can open new possibilities and great advantages. Now, let's see an example of how play and own game can look like. Now, what you just saw are actually two games that were developed by the Super Sky Games team, a design partner of ours. The team inside the games leverages some of the Web3 advantages. As you saw, users can actually own the items. They can own the summoners and the cards. They can also trade them, opening the possibility for secondary markets. And third, users can actually take the same assets and use them in two different games with a completely different user experience. In order to build a successful play and own games, you need two things. First, you need games. You need fun and exciting and engaging games that you guys know how to build. And second, you need a technology that will allow you to leverage Web3, and it's also easy to integrate. That's exactly why we built at ironSource Astra. And I'm super excited to share it with you for the first time. Now, if you think about the tech that is actually needed in order to leverage Web3, essentially you only need three main features. You need to generate and manage game assets. So you need a platform in order to do it. Then you want to distribute and allow users to access their items. So you need a wallet that will actually deliver the sense of ownership to users. And you want to open the possibility for trading with secondary markets. That's why you need a marketplace. All those three products are actually a part of Astra suite of solutions, all integrated within our SDK that is easily implemented inside your game. Astra have three unique elements that sets it apart. First, it's a plug-and-play solution, so it's very easy to get started with. Second, it's flexible. We decided to develop an open ecosystem where we are supporting multiple infrastructures, both more centric and closed ones, and also open and decentralized ecosystems. And third, Astra is built for scale. with its mobile-first approach, Astra is here to help you onboard the mass audience, your players, into Web3. Now let me quickly take you through each product. First, Astra Platform. Astra Platform is the place that developers can create and manage their NFTs, all done with a simple user interface and no code required. Inside the platforms, developers can set their games, they can upload game assets like equipment or art, set their properties and attributes, and mint them to their selected infrastructure. Inside the platform, developers can also distribute those assets to the users, both in and outside the game. In example, sending items to users that reach a specific milestone or reach a new level, or even rewarding users for their engagement on social media. Through the Astra SDK, developers can actually bring those assets to life inside the game, getting all the data that is required regarding the properties and attributes in order to deliver the expected user experience. And also getting the analytics regarding the asset's performance. You can get data regarding their revenues, royalties, transactions, and even the amount of wallets that are actually active inside your game. And everything is done within this unified platform. Now, in order to give the user the sense of ownership, allow them to access items, take actions, they need to have a wallet. Astra Wallet is built for players and is integrated inside the game. Users can log into the wallet using the same logging method that they are already using to log into the game itself. Inside the wallet, they can take different actions. In example, equipping items into the game, sending it to friends, or even list them for sale. Now, to deliver the real sense of user ownership and full user control, users can access Astra Wallet both in the game, through a native app on iOS and Android, and also on web. Now, remember we talked about secondary markets? Astra Marketplace, it's actually where it happens. It's a customized design that can match your game's look and feel, where users can actually look at the game's collection, research for items of their interest, look at the unique properties and special powers that they give them inside the game in order to make a purchase decision. Through the marketplace, users can both purchase items or list their own for sale. Everything is done within a secure environment in order to maximize conversions. To quickly recap what we just talked about, we see Web3 games as the extension from free-to-play into play and own. We believe that user ownership is actually good for the business, both for monetization in terms of revenues and for growth, user acquisition. Now it's the time to explore play and own. So if you already build Web3 games or plan to build Web3 games, Astra team is here for you and we are happy to chat. Thank you very much.